Listen, I love you for this in English. You're panacea. First time I think I'm not going to say it. It's big Tuesday night. So that's not going on. We'll make it Wednesday morning will be the same. Tomorrow morning. Okay. Just time. Okay. So let's begin Lindale Damid Beis. Learning about the blasting of the trumpets that was done every day in the Beis Hamikdash. So the minimal amount was 21, the maximum amount was 48. And the choice of what example that would be 48 was Erev Shabbos Shabbatei Chag, Friday in middle of Sukkot. Have all these extra blowings for the getting the water, plus you have the extra blowings of Friday, and you have the regular carbon musaf, so you have the extra that extra 9 for the carbon musaf. Together made 48. The Gemara says you never have more than 48. Erev Pesach shechalias b'Shabbos. Okay, we're looking for even more than what the Mishnah, to beat the maximum of the Mishnah. On a regular day, you had 21. If it's Shabbos, you have to add in another 9 from Muslim. That would be 30. If it's Erev Pesach, then because of the Pesach sacrifice, you also say Halal. Now, the Halal was said 3 times. Actually, the Halal was said in 3 groups. In each group was said 3 times. And there were 3 groups that came in to offer the sacrifice. And it says in each group, they would say it, the groups were large, they would say it 3 times, Halal, while they were doing the sacrifices. Now, the last group is a machlokes if they really got to the 3rd time, or if they got to the 2nd time even. But, so we're talking about saying the Halal 9 times, or blowing the shaif, the chatzaitzos 9 times, times 3, that's an extra 27 possibly. So if you started with 30, then you're holding at 57. That's more than 48. And even if you don't finish the last halals because the groups were smaller at the end, of Yehuda's opinion, at least you said it 3 times, so you cut it down to 27, take away 6, 21. So you're holding at 51. So the Gemara says like this: Dila Rabbi Yehuda Chamshin v'Chada. You have 51, which beats the maximum of the Mishnah. Dila Rabbana Chamishim v'Sheva. If it's according to the Rabbanan, let's say they finished the halal in the third group. So then it's 57. The Gemara says Kiktani mididisa b'chol shana. Erev HaPesach shchalias b'Shabbos blessed b'chol shana v'shana le'Kiktani. We're only saying things that happen every single year. Not every year does Erev Pesach fall on Shabbos. And if you take away 9, Erev Pesach is going to fall on one of the days of the week. It's not Shabbos. So you don't have the extra 9 for the carbon musaf. So then you're back down, or you take away 9, so you're down to 48. So it's fine. We mentioned that before, that anyway it's going to have 48. Yesterday we said 48. They said, well, Shire. It doesn't say every example. Okay. The Gemara says, well, so what was your example in the Mishnah that you chose to give you 48? I said, well, that is Erev Shabbos Shabbatei Chag. 1 second. Atu Erev Shabbos Shabbatei Chag Misa B'chol Shana. Okay. So every year you have a Friday in middle of Sukkot, that's going to give you 48. Some years there's no Friday during Sukkot. Why? Because Friday was the first day. So Sukkot is 7 days, right? So if the first day is a Thursday night Friday, first day of Sukkot, Thursday night Friday. The second day of Yom Tov is Shabbos. Well, we don't have a second. In Eretz Yisrael, there's no second day Yom Tov. The Chol Hamoed is Shabbos. So, but the first day of Yom Tov is Friday. It sounds like a regular Erev Tavshilin, right? So, what's going to be Shmini Atzeres? Shmini Atzeres is going to be again Friday. That means there was no Friday, the whole Sukkot. So why are you telling me that you've only talked about things that happen every year? For example, Friday in middle of Sukkot. Over here, you don't have a Friday in middle of Sukkot. Well, you have the first Friday, because it's Erev Shabbos. That we're not going to count, because Yom Tov doesn't push off the water, the collecting of the water. We're looking for when it's not on Yom Tov. And over here, you don't have a Friday that's not on Yom Tov. So we gave an example that really shows us that it doesn't happen every year. The Gemara answers, Kima Kalinan Yom Tov Rishon Be'erev Shabbos Mitche Dechinela. If that should happen, that Friday should be the first day Yom Tov. So we push it off. We change the calendar. Yeah, we do this actually. We don't do it for Sukkot though. We do it for Rosh Hashanah, but it's the same thing. Sukkot can never fall on. Rosh Hashanah can never fall on Loi Adu, not on a Sunday. The first day of Rosh Hashanah can't be a Sunday, can't be a Wednesday, it can't be a Friday. The problem with it being on Friday is that if Sukkot is on, if Rosh Hashanah is on Friday, that means well, it's going to come out that Sukkot is also Friday, and also that plays out. That's not the issue. The issue is that Yom Kippur is always the third day after Rosh Hashanah, the same day as Tzom Gedalia. We celebrate Tzom Gedalia as a day of Yom Kippur. So if Rosh Hashanah is on a Friday, the second day Rosh Hashanah is Shabbos, means Yom Kippur is going to be Motzei Shabbos Sunday. So there's a problem with Yom Kippur being on Motzei Shabbos. The problem is, there's a double problem. One is that the food spoils, because from Shabbos to Yom Kippur to be ready for food after Yom Kippur, you're waiting already for 2 days, the food goes bad. But another thing is that if someone were to pass away on Shabbos, you wouldn't be able to bury them until 2 days later, until after Yom Kippur. Usually on the second day Yom Tov or something, whatever. Usually you don't have that. You can get it on Jew or something. But here it's Yom Kippur. It's too long. So they adjust the calendar. It shouldn't fall on a Friday. Rosh Hashanah shouldn't fall on a Friday. So our suggestion was, 1 second. Sukkot possibly doesn't have a Friday during the whole Sukkot, because the first day of Sukkot, Yom Tov was a Friday. I said, no, we never do that, because if Sukkot would have been a Friday, that means Rosh Hashanah would have been a Friday, which means Yom Kippur would have been a Sunday. We adjusted it already, the calendar, that shouldn't happen. So every year there's a Friday in Sukkot. That's how we have the 48th. Okay, my timer. What's the reason why? Because if the first day of Sukkot would have been on a Friday, when would Yom Kippur have been? B'chad b'Shabbos, on a Sunday. So therefore we push it off. The Gemara asks, do we actually do that? Do we push it off? Well, tonight we have a Mishnah. Chelvei Shabbos creating Yom Kippur. It's actually machlokes. But sacrifices that were brought on Shabbos. So that night, after Shabbos, anything that wasn't burned, so you put it on the fire to burn, right? That's how it would work. The chalavim that didn't burn during the day would be put on at night. But let's say that night was Yom Kippur. So it says that even though this sacrifice is not a Yom Kippur sacrifice, it's a Shabbos sacrifice. But because the holiness of Yom Kippur and Shabbos are equal, you're allowed to burn those fats on Yom Kippur as well. Now, whatever the case is, whether yes or no, it's machlekes. This is accurate. If this is the way it's done, whatever the case is, you see that Yom Kippur can fall on a Sunday. That means we didn't adjust the calendar. Bamar Abzeir. Kevin Bey Rav Bavel. Abzeir says, when I was in front of Rav and Bavel, Apiyamri, Hadatanya, Yom Kippur, Shchal Yisrael Shabbos. This said it was taught in the Brisa that Yom Kippur, that's on a Friday. Lo Yahayu Taikin. They didn't blow the chatzaitres, the shofar, to introduce Shabbos coming in because it was Yom Kippur. And if it fell after Shabbos, they wouldn't make the Havdalah. You make Havdalah when you go from a higher level of holiness to a lower level of holiness. But Shabbos and Yom Kippur is not a lower level of holiness. So Rav said, Divri HaKoli. It's the opinion of everyone. Okay, that's not what bothers us. Yeah. One second. Let's go jump for a minute. Yeah, you asked me about the calendar. Oh. Yeah, it seems like they believe that it's jumping. That shouldn't be a basic English thing. Probably in the cities that have the sirens, they following the tradition. Kisalkis lahasam, when I went up to there, I guess I'm in Eretz Yisrael. And he said that it was the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Whatever the case is, there was a machlekes over there if Yom Kippur and Shabbos have the same kedusha or not. But that's not our direct issue. Our direct issue is apparently they're not adjusting the calendar that Yom Kippur shouldn't be on a Sunday. The Gemara says like kasha. It's not a problem. There's actually two opinions about how we adjust the calendar. There's the opinion of the Rabbanon, there's the opinion of Achirim, which is usually Rav Meir. The Tanya, started in a Brisa, Achirim says, every year, from year to year, you're only going to be 4 days off. See, let's do it like this. 350 days would be an exact, would set you up for the next year to be exactly on the same, well, 351. 351st day would be, let's say the Rosh Hashanah is a Sunday, which it's not, it can't be, right? But let's say Rosh Hashanah is a Sunday, the following year it's going to be, if the year was 351 days, it would be on a Sunday. But the year is really 355 days, so which means it's not going to be on a Sunday. It's going to be on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's going to be on a Thursday. Oh, 354. 354. 354. So it's going to be 4 days apart. So instead of so count the Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. So why is it 354? So Reb Meir's opinion is like this. He says that every month, basically, the lunar cycle is 29 days and a half. So every other month needs to be 29 days. Every other month needs to be 30 days. And that way it'll equal that out. So we have 6 months of the year is 30 days. That's 180 days. I have 6 months of the year, which is 29 days. What is that? 174. So then you add those of the two halves of the year, you put them together, and you're left with 354. So, but it's exact. You never adjust it. There's no wiggle room. If there was a leap year, then the last, then the next month is going to be 1 day later. It's going to be a 29 day month, which will push it up 1 day. Right? Sure. What do you say the leap year is? It's only 29 days. Yeah, 28 days would give me 1 day. It would be on the same day. 29 days pushes it up 1 day. Okay, so that's our shot. That's our teretz. That it is, according to one opinion, it's always going to fall out the way it's going to fall out, and you can't adjust it. But there is the rabbanan that say you can adjust it to make the calendar fit with more convenient schedules. Meisvei, tomorrow's a question. This question is on Ravacha. Going back, Ravacha said that every time there's another Musa, Ravacha Bar Chanina came from the south, and he brought a brisa. And he explained the brisa that he brought. He said, whatever the brisa is, the explanation for it is that you have to blow the trumpet every time there's another Musa. So it's a Shabbos and a Rosh Chodesh. You add on more and more trumpet blowings for each one. Meisvei, Rosh Chodesh Cholias b'Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh is on Shabbos. Shir shel Rosh Chodesh, Teiches Shir shel Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh pushes off Shabbos. Now, when would they blow the trumpets? During the song, while they were singing. Well, when were they singing? Well, during the sacrifice. So it says that they would push off, Rosh Chodesh would push off Shabbos. Now, the trumpets were blown during the song. So what are you saying, that you blow an extra time? Apparently, they didn't sing an extra time. This song took over the song. So then they would only have the blowing of Rosh Chodesh, not for Shabbos. So it's not that you have an extra blowing to Muslim. V'isa lema the Shabbos, lema the Rosh Chodesh. If, according to Ravacha, that you always have extra for each Muslim. You have the extra trumpet blowings. Why are you pushing off one for the other? You have them both. Doicha doesn't mean that it pushes off. Doicha just means that it comes first, it takes precedence. Pushes it, it delays it. You do it later. But the Gemara says, don't you do the more frequent one first? So Shabbos is more frequent than Rosh Chodesh. Shabbos is 52, right? Rosh Chodesh should only be 12. Rabbi Yochanan, Leida 48 something. Leida Shevik for Rosh Chodesh Bismani. No, we want everyone to know that it's Rosh Chodesh, and it's important to us. So we adjusted; it should be at the right time. So we make it very clear that it's Rosh Chodesh by singing the song of Rosh Chodesh instead of Shabbos. When it says V'haya Kerev Dinan, V'Kera Achrita Dinan. I thought we did something else to show that. What did we do? The Tanya was taught in a brisa, or is it taught in the Mishnah? Chel v'tamit shel shach anitan and mechatzi kevetz l'mata b'mizrach. V'shel musaf anitan mechatzi kevetz l'mata b'mayra. V'shel Rosh Chodesh anitan tachas karka v'mizbeach l'mata. If you remember the way that they would bring the limbs of the animal up to the mizbeach, they would do it in 2 steps. First, they would bring it to the mizbeach. They would put it on the bottom on the mizbeach, and then they would come back, and then they would bring it up from the ramp. From the ramp, they would bring it up to the altar. So in that process, they would put the Tamid Shel Shachar there on the ramp. They would put the Musaf there and on one side, and if it was Rosh Chodesh, they had this Rosh Chodesh sacrifice sitting there as well. And then they would have to make sure that they got it all up to the top before that the Talmud went first, and it had to go up in order. Whatever the case is, V'amar Rabbi Yochanan later shukvar Rosh Chodesh bismanik. And Rabbi Yochanan says, why would they do this? They put the Rosh Chodesh offering above. If they wanted everyone to notice that it was Rosh Chodesh. What are you telling me, that the song was the way of letting everyone know? It was the animal that was laying on the ramp that let everyone know. So that's not a problem. Treya Keiravdina. They did the two ways of letting everyone know. People have two alarms, two reminders, two things. The chazi high chazi, the chazi high chazi. The one that saw this one saw that one, saw this one. The one that sees that one sees that one. Okay. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. Tani Rava Bar Shmuel. Rava Bar Shmuel taught. Kshem shetoiken al Shabbos b'pnei atzmai v'al Rosh Chodesh b'pnei atzmai. Yachal. The important word there is yachal. I could have thought that just like you blow for Shabbos, you blow the trumpets for Shabbos, you blow for Rosh Chodesh on its own. Kach you taken al kol musaf and musaf, so you should blow for every time there's a musaf. Talmud Laimar, the teaching says, no, you don't blow for every time. The first of the month, it says, here we have a very strong question. Now, we didn't explain what that meant. All we know is that it said that Bryce is telling us that you don't blow an extra 9 times for each musaf that there is. It doesn't stack. Another musaf, another 9 times. No. It's Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, you just blow 9 times altogether. It's all the musaf. Just get one blowing. My Talmudah, how did you just come out with that? How did you learn that? Amar Abaya. Abaya says, Amar Kra, Ubarashei Chodshechem. The first of the months. Ukshu Kol Chodshechem Kulam Zelazeh. All the months have the same halacha. You don't blow any more for any of the months, whether it's Rosh Shabbos or not. They're all the same amount of blowings for every Rosh Chodesh. Which means that if there's an extra musaf that day, you don't get an extra blowing because all the Rosh Chodesh are the same. Even if it's on Shabbos. And Rashi Amar, Ksiv Chodshechem rather, Uksiv Ubarashi. It says your month. It also says Rashi, months, your heads. Which month has 2 heads? Rosh Hashanah. Why is Rosh Hashanah 2 heads? Well, the head of the fish, the head of the it's 2 heads because it's the head of the month and it's the head of the year. It symbolizes the beginning of 2. Okay. So, and the Torah calls it Chodshechem. V'yomer zeh Rosh Hashanah. V'amrachmana Chodshechem. Chodshechem means your month with missing a letter. Instead of Chodshechem, your months. It says Chodshechem, your month. And then it's the plural you, or singular month. Chati, that it's really only one. Oh, Rashi Hashanah. Go over there. So, that it's just one. That means that even though it's Rosh Chodesh, and it's also Rosh Hashanah, so that would be a great holiday if you wanted to have extra blowings, because you have a carbon for Rosh Chodesh, you have a carbon because it's Yom Tov. But nevertheless, it tells me that it's just one. Va'itanya was another brisa that says like this. On Sukkot and Chol. What were the songs of the day? On the first day, what would they say? Hashem b'nei Eloh. That was, what's that? Psalm 29, right? B'sheni ma'ayimrim. V'larasha amar lekim. That's Psalm 50. Shlishi Mayoim, Niyakum Liam Merayim. That's 94. Via Mahayoim, Binu Bayer Bam. Is that also there in 94? That's all they have there. The Chamishi Mayoim, Hasiresi Misable Shechmai. Shishi Mayoim, Yamaitakum Maisteyaretz. Okay. These are the different psalms, different songs that were said on Sukkot. Rashi explains why each song is being sung. Bringing the Meiser in. Okay. So then it says Vimchal Shabbos. What happens if Shabbos is on one of them? Is on one of those days of Cholamayit? And Yemaitu Yid. You push off the one of Yemaitu. Because you don't want to. Yemaitu was the first one, not the first one. Yemaitu was the last one. In other words, you have to say them all. You have to say them in order. So you push off the last one if Shabbos is one of them. That one's gonna go. The last one falls off. Rav Safra Manach Bahus Mana, Rav Safra made a simon for this, and his simon is Humbehi. What did he do when he says Humbehi? Well, the Hey stands for Habu. Villa Russia. Niyakum. Binu Bayerim Hasiraisi. And then Yemaita. Goes in order. Now Papa Manach Busamana Humhabi. He switched it around. He has Hasiraisi before Binu Bayerim. Okay. So the Gemara tells me something. First the Gemara tells me how to remember who did what here, Papa and Safra. So it says Ambua the Sifri. Ambua, how do they translate that? Is it a group of soldiers or something? Teacher's true. It's the people that walk with the teacher. Sifri, the scribes. So Rav Safra, the word that he has is hambuhi, which also is the word for truth. So the truth of the scribe, the truth of the teachers. Yeah, so it's just giving us a simon. But our main point here is that when it's Shabbos, apparently you only said the Shir Shel Shabbos. You didn't say the one from the Shabbos. We said you had to push off Yemaitim, that other song. So according to Ravacha says that you just keep stacking on more, and you blow the shofar, you blow the trumpets again. So that we're seeing from this price that you don't do that. Tiyufta de Ravacha bar Chanina tiyufta. Very strong question on it. The Gemara says, well, Ravacha bar Chanina kram asnisa kamar. But Ravacha bar Chanina had a brisa and he had a pasuk. Amar Ravina says, Laimar. What that brisa tells me is shemarichem b'tkiyas, that they extended it longer. Not that they blew extra, just that they blew for a longer time. They made longer tkiyas. Rabbanan the Kisri mishmei the Ravacha Amri Laimar shemarbe b'toikin, that they had more trumpets there, more people blowing. If it's a bigger holiday, because it's extra musaf, so you had more people there. The Gemara asks, we have 2 days. What's the Gemara asking? Talking about the songs. We have two days of Yom Tov. We have a problem. We have a problem. We have an extra day Yom Tov. So in the Musaf of the first day Yom Tov, we have a certain amount of sacrifices. And the second day Yom Tov, now we're in trouble. Because the second day Yom Tov, why is it the second day Yom Tov? Because it could be really, this is the first day Yom Tov. The problem is that it's the second day Yom Tov. And we adjust the sacrifices for the second day Yom Tov. And we're celebrating as if it's the first day Yom Tov. So how are we going to do this? If you would read Yom Hasheni on the second day Yom Tov, then people are going to say it's not Yom Tov, it's Chol Hamoed. So we have to consider it the first day Yom Tov. So Abaye Amar Sheni Yidche. Yeah. So you skip the Yom Hasheni. You go from the first day Yom Tov to the Yom Hashlishi. Rava Mashvi Yidche. Rava says that the last one just gets pushed off. We're talking about what to say in the Musaf or what song to say. That's the Gemara. Can you see where that says in there? The verses for the second day are set aside. So the Abaye says, what are the verses for the second day? The verses for the second day cannot be recited on the second day itself because of the doubt existing in the diaspora that it may be Yom Tov. It must be observed as such. So Rava says the verses for the seventh day are set aside. So even though we begin the day late, so the second day is saying the first day a second time. When you get to the seventh day, you're only up to the sixth. You drop that according to Rava. But what are we talking about? This is talking not to the Levium song, which does not apply outside the temple, but to the verses recited in Musaf, which talk about the offering of the day. Yeah. It's a complication. It's a problem. We adjust this. In Chol Hamoed, we say the Musaf. When we say the Musaf on Chol Hamoed, we say an extra day. And we say, like, let's say the third day, we say the third day and the fourth. And then we say the Chasnas game. On the first day and on the second day, we don't do that. We just say the Yom Rishon. We just say the first day. Because we don't want people to think that maybe today is not really Yom Tov. If you would say 2 days, like we're going to do on the third day, then people may think, well, that's not so serious. And even in the Musaf, I was suggesting that maybe it wasn't Yom Tov. Okay. And what happens here? Tanya Kava say the Rava. There's a brisa that supports Rava. Chal Shabbos Dias Bechamim Yemaitu Yidcha. So the last one falls off. So which means that the first and second day of Yom Tov, you were saying the first day, and on the third day you're saying the second day. And then when you get to the seventh day, you're still holding by the sixth, so you don't really get to say the seventh day. Askin Ameimer Bernardoi de Medalgi Deluge. Ameimer instituted that they would skip backwards. So on the third day of Chol HaMoed, you say the second and third day, but not on the second day. When you get to the third day, then you say 2 and 3. Okay.
Everybody saw that Rabbi Smith used this tomorrow. It'll be going on eBay later.
Okay. The next piece is a little bit complicated.
Like not complicated like the last little.
There's a problem. There's a complication in the next piece. I mean, there's like a math complication. Okay, let's take a look. What's happening here is that when it comes to holidays, so all the groups can go up to the Euler Regel. Right? How many groups of Kainim are there? 24. How many sacrifices are there that are being brought every day? Well, the thing is that when they're going up to when they're Euler Regel, all the groups are going up. These Kainim groups also want to serve in the temple. And on the holiday itself, it's like open. All the groups can come in and serve, even if it wasn't your week. So you can serve. So we want to allocate sacrifices for these different families to be able to do that. Now, how are we going to allocate these sacrifices? Yom Tov Rishon Shel Chag, on the first day of Sukkot. So Yud Gimel Parim, you know this works. It works its way down. The first day of Sukkot has 13 cows. The second day has 12. 11, 10, 9, 8. It works its way down. However, the Riyams are always Shnayim. And then, were there 7 kvasim? There were 14 kvasim. The Sar Echad. And then there was 1 goat. Now, so far we counted 16 animals, 13 cows, 2 rams, and 1 goat. Now, if we would give these to this would only use up 16 of the families. We still have another 8 left. All right, another 8 families that would like to participate in the service. They didn't get a cow, they didn't get a ram, they didn't get a goat. Mishtayrisham Yudalit Kvasim. But I do have 14 sheep that are left. So who's going to do those 14 sheep? So if I have 16 families of Kayanim that are satisfied with the animals that they got, then I have a total of 24. That means I have 8 left, right? 8 families left that would like to do a sacrifice. And I have 14 animals. So there's still those 14 sheep for 8 families. So B'Yom Rishon, on the first day, I would divide it like this. Shisha makrivim shnayim shnayim. 6 of those families, 6 out of 8, would bring 2 each. 2 sheep each. That gives me a total of 14. No, it doesn't. It only gives me 12. Where's the other 2? So v'hashar echad echad. So 2 families, Nebuch, they're left with only 1 lamb each, and that's how we would divide it. Okay, that's not complicated. what happens now is that what was done on the first day. What about the second day? On the second day, instead of having 13 cows, I only have 12 cows. I only have 12. That's going to leave me, before I get to the sheep, with only 15 families being satisfied. B'sheni, so chamisha makrivim shnayim. I have, instead of having 8 families left, now I have 9 families left that would really like to do a service. 9 families left, and I have 14 sheep. So what I do is 5 families do 2 sheep each. That leaves 10. And there's 4 families left because there was 9 families. And there were also 4 sheep left. So each one of those families only gets 1 sheep. B'shlishi, on the third day, I only have 14 families that are satisfied because I'm down to 11 cows. I only have 14 families that are satisfied, which means that I have 10 families that would like to be still doing the service, and I have the 14 sheep. So Daled Makrivim Shnayim Shnayim. 4 of them do 2 animals each. That uses up 8 animals. Now I have 6 animals left. Bashar Echad Echad, and those 6 other families do 1 sheep. For Revi, now you have to keep a calculation of that. On the 4th day, so we had 14 families before. Now we have only 13 families that are satisfied. I have 11 families that would like to do the sacrifice. So, and I have the 14 sheep and 11 families. So Shleisha Makrivim Shnayim Shnayim. 3 families of those 11 do 2 each. So 6 is used up. I have 8 left. So 3 and 8 would be 11. That satisfies them. Each one does 1 sheep. B'chamishi, I have 10. Am I left with 10 sacrifices? 10 animals. 10. What was I holding? Shnayim Makrivim Shnayim Shnayim. So 2 of them do 2 animals each. That's 4. Oh, I have 10 left over. So Vashar Echad Echad. In the 10 families, I had 12 families there that didn't have what to do, that didn't have the cows and the rams and the goat. So they'll do that for those 12 families. B'shishi, Echad Makriv Shnayim. Then I have on the 6th day, only one of them does 2 sheep. V'hashar Echad Echad. And then I have the other, is it 12 families or 13 families? And the other ones do just 1 animal each. It sounds like there's 12 families still there. B'shvi kulam shavin. But on the 7th day, they're all equal. What does it mean they're all equal? Well, I have a total of 1 sheep per family. And there's only 7 cows, 2 rams, 1 goat. That's a total of 10. 7, 2, and 1 is 10. And then I have 14 sheep, which is a total of 24. That means every family gets 1 sacrifice. The Shmini Chazru Lapayas Kibaragolim. When it comes to the Shmini, then they go back to making the lotteries. And Amru Mishikriv Parim Hayayim La Yaakov Lamachar. How does that, right? What happened was it was nicer to bring the bulls than to bring the sheep. So anyone that brought the sheep on the first day, on the first day there were how many people were with the sheep? There were 8. They didn't want to be from the next day's sheep. They wanted the next day to be from the bulls. They said anyone that was the sheep today, the bulls will be the bulls tomorrow. And then it would go around. That was my question. And it would go in a cycle that it was one day sheep, one day the bull, it would be part of the other group. Okay, let's leave it over here for today.
Oh, yeah, great job.